Hey everybody, it's Will. Took a little bit of a walk today and we're going to do a little bit of knife reviewing. I brought out some knives that I made and we're going to take a look at those in just a minute. Anyway, really quick before I got into that, I wanted to take just a quick minute and say a thank you to everybody who's been supporting me. You know, the fall is usually a little bit better than the summer. Late summer in knife making is very, very lean. So as an individual craftsman, as somebody who's making a living making knives professionally, I want to say thank you to all of you guys who are keeping me fed and housed in this time. You know, like I said, these months are lean, and you know, a lot of times it's as much as I can do to keep afloat financially. So I know from experience that it gets better, but right now is crunch time when it comes to finances and money and stuff like that. So I really, really appreciate you guys doing business with me. Like I said, keeping me fed, clothed, and housed, keeping the lights on in the shop, that means a lot. So thank you very much to everybody who's been buying my knives, who's been keeping me employed. So let's take a look at some knives here. So for today, and today's the 17th of July, I listed 6 Mk10s up on my website. These are them. They are a smattering of different Mk10s here. Obviously, all of them are 100% unique, and I just kind of want to go through them a little bit for you to show you the kind of knives that I built for this week's sale. I'm probably going to do this where I'm going to switch to a weekly model doing sales. I know that when stuff goes up day to day, a lot of people, they look at the sales and they say, well, you know, is this what I really want to get? What's going to come up tomorrow? And then if I do monthly sales, it's frankly just way too cash intensive for me. You know, I'm not rich. I don't have, you know, the budget for procuring steel and titanium and G10 and stuff that some of the bigger names in the industry do. So monthly sales are just a little too tough. That's why I stopped doing them. So I'm going to probably do a weekly sale once every Monday, probably about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll list my knives for sale, and then you can have a look on my website, see what goes up for the week. So I have 6. These are all Mk10s. Like I said, they range in cost and features from the standard, which is this one right here, and then I have a few premiums, and I have a couple of elites. So let's go from the beginning so you can see what you get with a base model knife from me. Bear in mind, this is a $700 knife, so $699 for this knife here. This is a Mk10 standard. Standard, you're going to get vented backspacer, which is really nice. You're going to get an A2 pocket clip. You're going to get the A2 style chamfers on here. The A2, Mk10 A2 basically was the evolution of the Mk10 that has these really heavy chamfers on it. It makes it a little bit more comfortable. I think it gives it a little bit more of an aggressive appearance to the knife, which I really like. It also incorporated a slightly improved area right here where instead of having just a ball end mill that I used to mill this out with, now this is flat, and I mill it out with a square end mill and chamfer it, so it's a little more durable that way. But this has got Battleship Gray G10 for the scales. This is actually traction milled on here. This is a hand rubbed satin set of flats on it. Really, really nice. I mean, this is just a beautiful finish on this particular knife here. And like I said, this is a standard knife. You have bead blasted edges on it. And one of the really cool things about this knife is recurve blade. So this is a one-off blade shape. I don't do a whole lot of recurves. It's not really in my sort of design language that I normally do, but when I do them, this is kind of what they look like. CPM 154. It's a standard satin finish on it. I think very attractive, and it's got a hand crown spine on it. So it's relatively basic. You know, there's not really a whole lot going on here that's like crazy, you know, extra features or anything like that. But I think you can tell with even with the base knife, you get a very nice knife, and you're really not missing out a whole lot if you pick up one of these things. So don't feel bad if all you can afford is a basic Mark 10 standard. You're still getting a heck of a lot of knife. You're still getting the integral bolsters, the double bolsters, the actual spine here, the tapered frame, all that stuff. So they are still a very functional knife. They're meant more as users and mules, something that you're going to carry daily. Not necessarily quite as much as a collectible. Now they are, of course, very collectible, but still, this is more meant for the guy who's going to be carrying this knife a little bit more. So we'll put that aside. Now I did make 3 premiums. The premiums are my way of offering a little bit nicer knife for the money. They're not quite to the level of the elites. Generally, the way that I kind of break this down is the premiums will have a finish on the handle or the blade that is what I consider to be a exotic finish. Either it's polished or hand rubbed satin, or my gloss stone wash, which I typically consider to be a little bit nicer finish. I do a matte stone wash as well, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But the gloss stone wash is here's the difference. I'll show you this, because this has got a gloss stone wash finish on it. So this, as you can tell, is a very shiny stone wash. Whereas this one here, this is a premium. This has got a matte stone wash. You can see the difference there. This is bead blasted and then stone washed. It's what Rick Hendra calls a working finish. I call it a matte stone wash versus a gloss stone wash. And you can see the difference there. This one here is an elite, and I'll get into that in just a second. Well, while I got it, let's have a look at this one here. This is a Mark 10 A3. So the A3 is kind of another evolution of the Mark 10. I'm not going to do this on 100% of them because not everybody wants the knife to be lighter. This is kind of a weird phenomenon, but I've experienced this in the custom knife world. Some people want that feel of, a chunk of titanium in their hand, but this one here is an A3. In fact, these are both A3s. This one's the prototype, this red one. This is the first production A3 Mark 10 Premium. Has a Wharncliffe blade on it. Matte stone wash finish here on the bevels. Hand rubbed satin. It does have a textured, pebble texture spine on it that matches the rest of the frame. The frame is what I call a relic brass finish. Now I have a relic bronze finish that's a textured stone-washed bronze finish. This is the brass version, and it has a patina finish to it. You can tell it's been green anodized, and then over top of that, anodized basically like a gold color. It has almost a reptilian look to it. It's very, very cool. Bead blasted green canvas micarta on here. Now the whole frame is skeletonized. You can see it goes straight through that frame there. Lightens it up by about 1.5 ounces. So this knife here, 4-inch blade, 0.187 inch thick blade stock, 0.2 inch thick locking surface on it. This thing's coming in about 5.6 ounces, so really not bad at all. The A3s are significantly lighter than the A2s, and the A2s are even a little lighter than the original Mark 10. So, this is a pretty light knife for what it is. Really nice action on it. Perfect centering, of course. And then this one's got OD green G10 for the backspacer and pocket clip. I did mill this, give it a little bit more traction there. That's kind of one of those A3 things. It's going to get a little bit of extra milling on the backspacer. The A3s will basically all have unique backspacers. So on this one here, this red one, this is the prototype for the A3s. You can see there's a significantly more complicated backspacer design on there with an inlay. I make these by hand, so I can change them up a little bit if I want to. So here's another premium. This is a wood grain version. Black G10 for the handle scales, wood grain, sort of a bronze finish to it. This has been a very popular finish for me. Hand textured. By the way, all these frames are hand textured. And this one's got a very plain satin finish, Spanto blade, very usable. This is a practical blade shape. It's a great user if you want to, put your Mark 10 into useful service. Hand crown spine on it. But you have that really cool hand textured finish on this one here. And this one just, something about this particular knife, it flips so smoothly, it glides open. It's fantastic. I mean, they all do, but this one in particular. I really like the way this one feels for whatever reason. It's perfectly center, of course. I went with a half spacer on this one, so it's a little different. I did do a full vent on this one, and I gave it traction back here, but I went with a half spacer to kind of just lighten it up a little bit. You know, I'm changing things up and working with different spacers and whatnot. This will still accept the full spacer if you want that. If you want to add that at one point down the line, some point down the line, you decide, oh, hey, I just want a full spacer on it. I can drop that in, no problem. But this one's got a half spacer on it for the time being. So, just kind of cool. Okay, and so the third premium is this one, which some people call the Spider-Man knife. I did show this to some people on social media and Facebook, and they were like, ah, that looks like Spider-Man would carry that. I thought it was kind of, you know, like a Patriot knife because it's red, white, and blue. But you can see this has got a sort of almost a satin polish finish on the blade. The CPM 154 on the blade, drop point, hand crown spine on it, orange peel finish on the frames, C-Tech handle scales, which I normally charge a little bit extra for, but I decided to just go ahead and put this one in the premium category because it's just a little bit better value. You know, I could probably bump this up into the elite category and nobody would really bat an eye, but personally it's not really worth that. I want somebody to get a good deal on this one. Got a interesting sort of combo here. I got a blue full backspacer on it, so it's not the vented backspacer. I went ahead and went with the full backspacer on this one here, and it's got a red G10 pocket clip on it, matching anodized pivot screws on there. Nice action too. It's very snappy. Okay, so the elites are my top of the line versions of the Mark 10, and for this one, I have two elites. This one here I actually made for myself, and due to some sentimental reasons, I decided not to carry this one. I recently got back the Mark 6 serial number 1 in trade, and I have been carrying that one. It's kind of a guilty pleasure because it's kind of a historic piece for me. But I carry it all the freaking time, so I just decided to go ahead and put this knife up for sale. I made this one for myself, so just to let you know, this was going to be my knife. This one's got hand-rubbed satin frames on it. It does have bead-blasted edges. I showed you that cool ventilated backspacer on it. And the blade on this one is a Bowie grind, which I happen to love. I love Bowie knives, and this grind is totally me. Big swedge on it. Lightens up the blade even further. This knife is 5 ounces, by the way. Crown spine on it. Lightened pocket clip, lightened backspacer. That's carbon fiber in the inlay there. And it's been jeweled on the inside too, so you can see that there. It's a really neat knife. This is an elite. This is actually the prototype for the A3, so I called it the prototype A3, and that one's available for sale, though. It was going to be my knife, so whoever gets it, take care of it, please, because it's a nice knife. All right, guys. So last but definitely not least is Wormbane. This is a special knife. Now, with the Mark 10 Elites and with all the Elite knives that I have, they're all named. They have a little bit of a mythos to them, a mythology. I think fitting of such a legendary looking knife. This thing is truly top of the line. For starters, we've got a polished blade on it. It has satin flats on it, of course. It's not a full polish, but it has polished bevels on there. This is a Tonto blade. Hand crown spine on it. A2 chamfers on the, of course, the frame and the blade there. It does have on this particular knife here, this layered G10 CF stuff, and I added a little bit of grip texture on it. The backspacer is really cool. It's actually vented, almost a full spacer, but it's vented. I went back on the inside and basically milled away a pocket to where this now has got basically these little trellises coming over top of there. I think it looks really freaking sick. It's just, you know, it's little things like that. Like, I totally experiment with the Elites. I want to make them, like, as cool as possible. They have to just be awesome. This one has got, on the pocket clip, is actually Cerakote on the sides here. And I did that to give it a little bit more of a two-tone effect. And this is lime green G10. Some people call it toxic green, okay. Same with the backspacer, same color. And it's a lime green frame on the thing. You can see the jeweling on the inside too. I think maybe. Just a beautiful, beautiful knife. But you know, I call this thing Wormbane because you know, the old German word for well, I guess it's kind of a Dutch or Danish Norse word for a dragon is Wurm, Lindewurm. And there's all sorts of legends about the worms, dragons and whatnot. And I've always been kind of fascinated by dragons. I happen to be the world's biggest Might and Magic junkie, just by the way. For those of you guys who know what that is, that'll kind of, you know, date me. And I absolutely love, you know, old movies like Dragon Slayer and Dragonheart and things like that. And so this one, to me, it looked like a green dragon. I looked at that and I was like, dragon scales, you know. That's what the frame and the scales looked like to me. And I was like, okay, yeah, that looks like the weapon of a dragon slayer. Somebody would whip that out to go slay a wyvern. I think so. The thing's fast and deadly and agile and accurate. You could get this in between the, you know, inside the scale plates and you know, get yourself in there and, you know, gig yourself a dragon if you needed to. Probably. Totally, right? So, anyway, long story short, I gave it that name, and it's a nice knife, I'll tell you what. This one's actually already been sold, so I put it up on the website today, and it was gone, I'm not kidding, within 20 seconds. You know, I have some very dedicated collectors who collect my, like, super high-end stuff, and they don't sit around very long at all. This one's already gone, so it's going to go to its new owner. But I wanted to give you a good look at it, because it's just beautiful. So that's Wormbane, and that concludes our look at this 6. Next week I'll make some more knives for next week. You know, I don't have that many more Mark 10 blades. After that, I got to decide whether or not I want to make more Mark 10s or go back to doing Mark 8s or something else. But we'll see. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys are interested in more Mark 8s. I saw them kind of taper off a little bit in the spring, and went back to doing Mark 10s because people were itching for some more of them. But if you guys are interested in more Mark 8s, definitely let me know. I try to be pretty responsive to my customers and make what they want to buy. You know, I don't do custom orders. That's just easier for me not to have to worry about, you know, the logistics of taking care of custom orders and stuff like that, making sure that stuff gets filled in a timely manner. You know, obviously I try to do that, but it's a little bit tougher to maintain that sort of thing than basically just building stuff to my own spec and putting it up for sale. It's a little bit less stress and pressure for me, and I found myself basically pulling my hair out when I did custom orders because it was just really, really stressful. And as somebody who's running a business by themselves, I made the decision to do only knives that I make for myself on spec or buy myself on spec. But it keeps my customers happier that way. They don't have to, you know, shell out a bunch of money and wait for something to be made. And it's better for everybody. So, like I said, though, I'm interested in making what people are interested in buying. I want to try and meet demand. And if people are interested in Mark 8s, Mark 10s, whatever, I'll make them. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Like I said in the beginning of the video, thank you for the support. And as always, thank you for the business. If you're interested in purchasing one of these knives, have a look at my website, www.willmooncustomknives.com. And I'll see you later. Thanks a bunch, guys. Bye.